We are going to talk about 6 interesting facts about Africa. We're going to talk about 6 interesting facts about the continent Africa. My name is Joyce Loy. I'll be using my notebook today. So I did some research about 6 interesting facts about Africa. Yes, Africa. But first, I'm going to make something very, very clear. Africa is not a country. Africa is not a country. Second thing, Africa is not a city. Africa is not a city. The third thing, Africa is not a town. You know, I find a lot of people ask me, Jo, do you come from the country called Africa? And I'm like, okay. It's understandable, you know, it's really understandable that some people don't do their research about some of these things. But in my own opinion, it's kind of embarrassing, you know, just not knowing that Africa is a continent. So these are my 6 facts about Africa that maybe you know and maybe you didn't know about. Yeah, and we are going to talk about them. If it's something you already know, good for you. If it is something that you didn't know, then you are learning something new. All right, so the 6 facts about Africa. The first fact. All right. So going to my 6 facts about Africa, as I'm going to be following them through my small, tiny notebook. The first fact is Africa is the 2nd largest continent in the world. Yes, Africa is a continent and it is the 2nd largest continent out of the 7 continents. Did you know that? Did you know that? Okay, so the second fact about Africa, my continent, is Africa has over 1 billion people who speak over 1,500 different languages. Yes, this is... So I'm going to ask you, for the third fact, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know the largest country in Africa? The largest country in Africa. The largest country in Africa is Algeria. The largest country. While the country with the largest population is Nigeria. Don't mix the two. My next fact is one of the most interesting ones because it cuts through Uganda, where I come from. So the longest river in the world is in Africa, and that is River Nile. Yes, River Nile is the longest river in Africa, and it's in Uganda. The source of the Nile is in Uganda, and actually it's one of the most tourist places that people come to Uganda to visit. So you should come and visit the source of the Nile in Uganda. Yeah. What we're going to talk about is the smallest country in Africa. The smallest country is one of those beautiful small countries on an island that everyone wants to go to. And you know what that is? I don't know if you guessed right, but Seychelles is the smallest country in Africa. Yes. Seychelles is the smallest country in Africa, yet one of the most beautiful countries. It occupies about 451 square kilometers only. Yes. Seychelles is the smallest country in Africa. Yes, that's a fact. Yeah. So we have one of the longest and hottest deserts in Africa, and that is the Saharan Desert. Yes, it's in Africa. That is a fact. It's the longest, hottest, and it's in Africa. The Saharan Desert. So those are my interesting facts about Africa. But I want to leave you one thing that I want you to do some research about, and that is all nations were colonized. All nations were colonized by Europe. Countries in Africa were colonized by Europe. Now here comes my question. I want you to find out which two countries were not colonized by Europe. Which two countries were not colonized by Europe? And please answer by commenting down, yes, in the drop box. Which two countries were not colonized by Europe? I'll be waiting for your answers. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like. Yes, and don't forget to recommend. Thank you so much. It was your girl Joyce Loy on Hook On with Joy.